Hi, this is Muyun Li, and today I'm going to talk the topic about the human impact of marine ecosystem imbalance, which is an analysis of society and ocean management. In this video, I'm going to go through the background introduction, three typical situations, and two methods that are helpful to come up with some ideas that we can use to mitigate the environmental situations. And in the end of the lecture, I will also conclude those ideas and the directions. Okay, so let me just start from the background introduction. As we all know, the ocean plays a significant role in adjusting the global temperature, balancing the weathers, and also providing resources to humans. But many people didn't aware of such a relationship between human and oceans. So the relationship balance between human and ocean is easily to be broken. There's three typical situations: plastic pollution, overfishing, and climate change that are most likely to cause some serious problems. And those problems will also feed back to affect human health. So let's just start from the plastic. The plastic is really hard to dissolve in the soil and also really expensive to be reproduced. So there will be larger and larger area of the wasted plastic. And such a larger volume of the plastic garbage will easily trapped and trap the wild animals and finally kill them. And for humans, the chemicals with high toxicity that leak out from the plastic waste is also a threat to the human health. But for the most important part of the plastic is it actually kind of unsustainable product because the resources we use to make the plastic, the oil, is an unrenewable resource, which means the speed we use in it is much faster than it reproduces. Also, there is an image here shows how the plastic particles gets into our water system. So we can see during the process of reproduction, consumption, and recycling, the tiny and the large particle of plastic could go into the water from sewerage rivers and finally accumulate in the ocean. So the fishes. So the fishes is one of the most important protein taking for humans, and we just consume a lot of fishes every day in a global level. So here comes the new problems, a new problem that those less developed regions near the ocean do not have such a high productivity and technology as those developed regions. So that might cause the health inequalities for those less developed regions because fishes are their most important food resources without the one-off. The image here shows the hunting of the global marine fishes from 1950 to 2006. We can see on 1950, there were about 18 million tons of fishes were caught, and literally 0 fishes were farmed. After that, humans start to realize the importance of farming fishes, but the amount of farmed fishes were still far beyond the amount of the caught fishes. In this trend, the many species of marine fishes are likely to extinct in the future. So the climate change, as we talked before, the ocean had the ability to adjust the global climate. In that case, when some serious impacts happens to the climate, there will also be a phenomenon here on the ocean, like the harmful algal bloom, which literally means the algal bloom that is really harmful to the ocean system and other marine organisms. Basically, because of the nutrients and the temperature increases, the algal just breeding and form the thick layer underwater, and such a layer can prevent the sunshine from touching the underwater green vegetations. In that case, those vegetations are hard to do their metabolism, which also causing the less of oxygen underwater. On the other side, the algal bloom also emitted a lot of carbon dioxide through respiration, and this process also enlarged the ocean acidification. As we've discussed, those 3 typical situations, there are 2 methods that I want to mention that might be helpful to come up with some ideas. So the first one is a desirable and undesirable interaction between ocean and human health, which is focused on the relationship between human health and the ocean's ecosystem. And the other one is called the social ecological system framework, which mainly discuss the resource management in the social framework. So let's start from the first one, the desirable and undesirable interactions. As we can see, the ocean health is over here, and the human health is over here. And what the ocean desire from the humans are integrated management and the ocean stewardship. And at the same time, the ocean undesirable from the humans involve the industry pollution, the loss of habitat, and the resource extraction, and so on. And from the human side, the human is desirable to the ocean from the food, the resources, the energy, and also the spiritual and mental health. At the same time, humans are undesirable to take the risk of a disaster and disease from the ocean. So basically, the relationship between the ocean and human is just connected together. Both sides have the desirable and undesirable part to each other. So the most important part between the relationship is that we are supposed to take the benefit and resources from the other part, and also be responsible to protect and manage the another side of the ocean. Okay, the next framework, the social and ecological system framework. So we can see the image here at the central part, the action situations over here, which is defined as the individuals observe information, select actions, engage in patterns of interaction, and realize outcomes from their interaction. In such a framework, the actions we're doing is just or should be together with the assistance of a resource system, governance system, resource service, and the units and actors. So with the assistance of those four parts, we could make the decision and doing the responsibility to get into the local social and economic political system to manage the resources over here. So as a result of the first system, before that, we might think the relationship between ocean and human are a kind of just a risk framework, which means we just simply take benefits and resources from the ocean, and at the same time stands those bad things, those negative disaster and disease from the ocean. But actually, we just ignore the desirable and undesirable part from the ocean side. So basically, this is a relationship that connected together with each other. We are supposed to take benefits from the ocean and also be responsible to protect the ocean. For the second system, the social ecological system is really useful because we could avoid the influence of the tragedy of commons, which means someone just acquire the resources in order to maximize their own interest in the short term. During the existence of the four parts in such a system, we are more likely to make a better decision that could involve every part in such a social resources framework. So in conclusion, as we discussed the situations before, we could come up with some ideas that mitigate those problems, like the approaches to science and health communication, and build a more trusted relationship among the stakeholders, and also encourage the economical incentives, and also make stronger regulations that focus on ocean and human health. In the further research, I think I could just focus more exactly to those three situations: the plastic pollution, overfishing, and climate change. So in that case, there will be more technical and scientific methods are required to use in the future study. So yeah, and here's the references that used in this PowerPoint. Yeah, and thanks for watching.